Circle Conversations, April 2026. Question about justice, mercy, and forgiveness. How are the qualities of justice, mercy, and forgiveness related? Where can they be found in our world today? Response. These qualities are related by the fact that they belong to the human soul. They are expressions of the higher self of humanity, of the wisdom gleaned from crossing the burning grounds and contacting the divinity within. Where they appear in human interactions, they testify to the conscious presence of the soul dwelling behind the mask of personality. Justice can be applied at two levels: the level of governments and the level of individuals. Since the advent of the 18th century Enlightenment principles, governments that applied those principles have been considered enlightened. A pure system of justice has not yet existed on earth, as bias inevitably creeps into judicial opinions. But the establishment of a trial by a jury of one's peers has had major significance in the evolution of humanity by elevating the resolution of injustice from the emotional to the mental plane, from the instinct to take revenge, often violently, to the use of reason to discern right from wrong, truth from falsity, determining where the fault lies and what the penalty should be. Yet, justice can also be achieved outside of courtrooms, and this is where mercy and forgiveness can play a role. When the heart of the offended party is open and the wisdom of the soul is present, the individual may choose to absolve the wrongdoer of external penalties. However, unless there is an expression of genuine remorse accompanying the appeal for mercy, the transgression will inevitably be repeated, leaving it up to a system of justice to finally resolve the damages, whether crime or misdemeanor, whether physical or emotional. The process of establishing justice at any level requires integrity, honesty, intelligence, objectivity, and the courage to stand for truth, no matter how political winds may be blowing. Where these qualities are lacking, the workings of justice will be manipulated by personal ambition. This is seen in so-called democratic nations today, where leaders are unabashedly deceitful, immoral, rapidly power-driven, and oblivious to the consequences of their actions. They live an illusory existence in which there is no God and in which qualities associated with divinity are anathema. Unsuspected by soulless tyrants, higher laws of justice operate on the spiritual planes of earth, starting with the laws of karma and rebirth, or cause and effect. The workings of these laws, whose purpose is the gradual refinement and ultimate perfectioning of human souls, will eventually remove the calcified darkness that insulates the hearts of such individuals, releasing their souls into the light of truth. But that process can be expected to occur over many lifetimes, possibly eons. What is important to the plan is not the destiny of human beings who shamelessly facilitate injustice, but what their injustices are evoking within humanity. For decades, we have written about the heart of humanity opening and the soul awakening. These evolutionary advances are now proceeding at breakneck speed, thanks in no small part to the actions of malevolent forces. Every act of barbarism pierces the sensitive human heart and deepens the capacity for compassion. This is occurring to the point where the ideal of compassion has become imprinted in the daily awareness of millions of individuals who together are raising the consciousness of humanity. Compassion lies at the root of the capacity to forgive and to be merciful. The word compassion literally means to suffer with. The ability to feel the pain of others indicates that the soul has experienced deep suffering and, importantly, has drawn from that experience the capacity to feel empathy for others who suffer. Empathy is what allows for forgiveness and its counterpart, mercy. The person who is able to pardon the offenses of others with an attitude of mercy is a person who has gained the wisdom of the ages from the crucible of human suffering. At the level of nations, nowhere on earth are the qualities of mercy and forgiveness more actively promoted than in Syria. Embracing these qualities is the official policy of the government in its drive to transform an entrenched culture of division and hatred into an environment conducive to generating unity. At the same time, beneath the collective movement toward unification, there simmers a cry for justice, for holding accountable those allied with the former regime who killed, tortured, forcibly displaced, and sent a large segment of the population into exile. Even if hearts are ready to release the burden of hatred and to forgive, justice requires accountability. For forgiveness to arise naturally in the human heart, there must be an expression of remorse and an appeal to be forgiven. In present-day Syria, culprits from the old regime are generally living in fear of retribution, not accepting responsibility for their role or asking to be forgiven. While the mechanisms of collective justice are being worked out, however, the new leaders are calling for mercy as the foundation for healing the nation. What Syria is showing the world is that there is no clear line of demarcation between these three qualities, but that all of them must work together toward healing, whether a nation, a group, or an individual. The Syrian people are demonstrating that it is not essential for the scales of justice to be balanced before the heart is open to expressing mercy. Exhausted from war and fratricide, torn apart by personality divisions, the nation is exhibiting the power of the soul to transcend the past and build a future aligned with the higher self of humanity.